All right, listen up. I've been racking and stacking Cisco gear in data centers for over 30 years now. And let me tell you, there is one massive secret to crushing it in the job market, and we're breaking it down in this explainer. You see, out there in the real world, networks don't just magically work because you plugged in some cables. No way. You absolutely need IP routing to connect those isolated local area networks. So let's skip the fluff and dive right into the deep end. Now here is the ultimate riddle. It's the exact question every network engineer gets grilled on in interviews. How do we get totally isolated VLANs talking to each other at lightning speed? And more importantly, what are the exact CLI commands that make that magic happen? Layer 2 switches, well, they only understand MAC addresses, right? So how on earth are we routing IP packets between VLANs without choking our network on some external edge router? Well, stick around, because we're going to solve this puzzle piece by piece. Take a look at this. This is the physical reality of an enterprise server room. Just a sprawling jungle of cables. Our job? We have to tame that physical chaos. All the logical configurations we're talking about today, your VLANs, your routing commands, they sit right on top of this physical mess. We're literally transforming this massive tangle of wires into a highly organized, blazing fast data highway. So let's grab the very first piece of our puzzle, the SVI, or Switch Virtual Interface. Think of an SVI as a completely logical Layer 3 interface that lives inside your switch, and it's built specifically to route packets for one particular VLAN. And honestly, here's the coolest part. These SVIs act as the default gateway for the devices inside that VLAN. So if a client needs to talk outside its own subnet, it sends its packet straight into this SVI. Boom, your switch is suddenly acting like a massive high-speed router right in the core of your network. Okay, time to hit the keyboard. What you see right here are the exact steps you need to survive in the job market. Etch these into your brain. First up, the SDM prefer LAN-based routing command. Then you gotta reload the switch. Third, and this is huge, the IP routing command in global configuration mode. And finally, you create the actual interface by typing interface VLAN followed by your VLAN ID. These 4 little steps, they are absolutely your bread and butter for real-world Cisco deployments. But hang on a second. Right here is where so many junior engineers fall flat on their faces. Let me give you a quick war story. I've literally watched guys pull their hair out for hours stuck in troubleshooting loops. Why? Because they forgot to reallocate the switch's forwarding chip memory to actually support an IP routing table. That is exactly what the SDM prefer command does. And here's the kicker. It does not take effect until you reboot that box using the reload command. Do not skip this step. Which brings us to trap number 2. All right, so you reloaded the switch, it boots back up, life is good. But if you forget to punch in that global IP routing command, your switch is never, ever going to route IPv4 packets. It just won't build the routing table, period. Without that one single command, your expensive Layer 3 switch is just a glorified Layer 2 dummy switch. Lock IP routing into your memory right now as an unbreakable rule. Now that our routing is actually alive, we've got a choice to make between 2 totally different architectural designs. We just talked about SVIs, right? Those are entirely logical interfaces for routing between VLANs inside the switch chassis. But on the flip side, we have routed ports. What is a routed port? It literally means we take a physical switch port and mutate it so it acts exactly like a port on a traditional router. Knowing when to use a logical SVI versus dedicating a physical port to Layer 3 is what separates the pros from the rookies. So how do we actually pull off that mutation? How do we turn a switch port into a routed port with absolute magic? The no switch port command. The second you enter this under a physical interface, you strip away every ounce of its Layer 2 capability. It becomes a strict Layer 3 interface. No more VLANs on this port. You can just slap an IP address directly onto the physical interface itself. It's incredibly practical, and we use it constantly in enterprise data centers. But listen, in today's job market, just typing the config is only half the battle. You have to prove it works. To verify your routed ports, you absolutely need these 3 commands. First, show interface's status. You'll see words like trunk or access completely replaced by the word routed. Second, show IP routes, so you can physically see the routes sitting in the table. And third, show interface's switchboard. That one proves without a shadow of a doubt that your port is no longer operating at Layer 2. Pros always verify. Okay, let's pivot for a second, because here is the harsh reality. Setting things up is fine, but when the network tanks and the help desk phones are ringing off the hook, your ability to troubleshoot broken routes is what actually pays your salary. If you can't find and fix a broken path, all those fancy configs mean absolutely nothing. So let's look at the heavy-hitting tools we use to isolate faults in the wild. And here is a massive rookie mistake: trusting a basic ping. There is a world of difference between a standard ping and an extended ping. Standard ping, it just tests generic connectivity. If you ping a local client from the router and it replies, you might think you're golden, but you could be getting tricked. An extended ping lets you change the source IP. It literally forces the client device to use its default gateway to reply. If a standard ping works but an extended ping times out, boom, you know for a fact the client has a bad default gateway conflict. It's an absolute lifesaver of a trick. Next up is our absolute powerhouse, traceroute. When a ping just completely flatlines, how do you know where the packet actually died? Enter the traceroute command. It systematically hunts down the path your packet is taking, router by router, hop by hop, until it pinpoints the exact physical device dropping your traffic. When you're trying to find a failure point across a massive, sprawling network, traceroute is literally your best friend. All right, let's bring it all together. The real magic of LAN routing happens when your logical SVIs and your physical routed ports flawlessly align with your IP routing table. Remember that riddle we started with? How do we connect VLANs at wire speed? Well, we solved it. By leveraging layer 3 switches, firing up IP routing globally, and strategically deploying SVIs and routed ports, we make those connections happen directly in the switching hardware. Zero speed bottlenecks. To wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with a real brain teaser. If our layer 3 switches are so powerful that they can route IP packets at absolute wire speed, why do we still rely on traditional, dedicated edge routers to connect us to the outside world? Really think about that one. And hey, make sure you get on some actual gear and practice these commands. The job market is hungry for engineers who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. I hope you got a ton of value out of this deep dive. Until next time, keep that energy high and go conquer your networks.